The world is watching. It has been over 3 long years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This conflict is not just a distant war in Eastern Europe. Honestly, it's a crisis that has touched every corner of the globe. It has sent food prices soaring, making it harder for families everywhere to put meals on their tables. The war has also caused a massive energy crisis, changing how we heat our homes and power our industries. Millions of people have been forced to flee their homes, creating the largest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. The fighting has been brutal, costing hundreds of thousands of lives and leaving cities in ruins. This war is more than a battle over territory. It is a struggle over principles. It tests the idea that a country cannot simply invade its neighbor and take what it wants. For years, the international community has tried to stop the violence. Sanctions have been placed on Russia. Nations have sent weapons and money to help Ukraine defend itself. But the fighting has continued. President Donald Trump announced the summit in his signature style. He used a late-night post on his social media platform, Truth Social. "I will meet with President Putin in Alaska to end this crazy war," he wrote. "It has gone on for too long. Too much money spent, too many lives lost. We will get a deal done, a great deal for everyone. It's time for peace." The choice of Alaska is significant. It's American soil, but it is also geographically close to Russia. The location is meant to project a sense of neutrality and seriousness. President Trump has often spoken of his respect for President Putin as a strong leader. He believes his personal relationship with the Russian president gives him a unique advantage. His plan is to cut through all of that. He wants a direct conversation between the two main global powers involved. However, this plan is also filled with risk. Critics worry that President Trump might be too eager to make a deal. They fear he might give away too much to President Putin. The summit is a massive gamble. If it succeeds, Trump could be praised for ending a devastating war. If it fails, it could deepen the conflict and leave Ukraine in an even more dangerous position. The central idea being discussed is a difficult one. It is often called land for peace. This means Ukraine might have to give up some of its territory to Russia. In exchange, the fighting would stop. This includes Crimea, which Russia took in 2014, and parts of eastern and southern Ukraine, like the Donbas region. For Ukraine, it is an almost impossible choice. The country's constitution says its territory is whole and cannot be divided. Giving up land would mean accepting that Russia's invasion was successful. For the people of Ukraine, this is not a distant political game. It is a matter of life and death, of home and identity. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced by the war. Many who fled from cities like Mariupol, Kherson, or Donetsk still dream of returning one day. A peace deal that signs those cities over to Russia would extinguish that dream forever. The impact on Ukrainian sovereignty would be devastating. For Ukraine, which has a long history of Russian domination, its independence is precious. The war has been framed as a final fight for freedom. Europe is watching the proposed Alaska summit with a mixture of hope and deep anxiety. The continent is not united in its view. Poland has been one of Ukraine's strongest supporters. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk recently said, "Any peace negotiation must have Kyiv at the table, leading the conversation." This view is shared by the Baltic states. For these nations, Ukraine's fight is their fight. They believe that if Russia is rewarded for its aggression in Ukraine, they could be next. In contrast, some countries in Western Europe have a more pragmatic view. Nations like France and Germany have borne significant economic costs due to the war and sanctions. They are managing large populations of Ukrainian refugees and dealing with political pressure at home from citizens tired of the conflict. The Alaska summit forces these different European perspectives into the open, revealing a continent struggling to balance its principles with its practical needs. As the date of the Alaska summit approaches, the world is balanced on a knife's edge. There are clear reasons for hope. The simple fact that President Trump and President Putin are willing to sit down and talk is a significant step. It breaks a long period of diplomatic silence between the two nuclear powers. The potential for a deal is real, driven by mutual interests. President Trump wants a major foreign policy victory. President Putin, facing a strained economy, may also be looking for an exit. However, the reasons for caution are just as powerful. The fundamental gap between the warring sides remains enormous. Ukraine insists on the full restoration of its 1991 borders. A peace deal forced upon Ukraine could prove to be incredibly fragile. An unjust peace, one that rewards aggression, might not last. It could simply pause the conflict. The Alaska summit is a high-stakes gamble. It could lead to a historic breakthrough that ends a brutal war. Or it could collapse, deepening divisions and legitimizing a violent land grab. The fate of Ukraine, the stability of Europe, and the principles of the international order all hang in the balance, all waiting for the outcome of a conversation in the cold, clear air of Alaska. The only certainty is that the world will be watching,